I was born August 1st, 1930. My mother was Nettie Mae Bruff Anderson. My father, Enoch Leander Anderson. Both of my grandparents, all four of my grandparents were still alive at that time. But they died when I was probably, I think I was about 4 going on 5 years old. My mom and dad were good LDS people. They taught us the gospel. My grandparents had both come to America for the church. So my own personal life was wrapped up pretty much in the pioneers, the Mormons, the church. We were very close to Aunt Judith. She would come very often. That was my father's sister. And her husband had died. She'd come to our house very often, and she and Mother would sit and visit. Aunt Beta did too, but Aunt Beta died before I was very old. So they had a very close relationship. And Aunt Judith and Mom would visit and visit. Also, Grandpa had a farm and he provided us with our milk. So usually we'd take the car and we'd go drive down. They lived in Canterbury, not too far away. And they had the little street running by their house, and then there was the canal. And I do remember always thinking when we backed out, Dad was going to back too far and go into that canal. Of course he never did, but that's where we got our milk. And it was fun to go down there and watch the kids down there and milk the cows. Or they would also raise the pig, and so we always benefited. Grandpa was always helpful with us that way. We'd go in and help gather eggs. That was our farm experience. I can remember as a very young girl, and the one thing I remember about my Grandma Anderson was we had a little potbelly stove in there, and that's where we also would keep the fire going. And I can remember singing Happy Birthday to my grandma. I only remember a couple of times, so this was very special, watching her sit there with the tears rolling down her cheeks as we sang Happy Birthday to her. The first child was Thelma. Mother had the children very, very close. And for which I'm thankful. It was hard for Mom and Dad, but I loved my family. I was glad to have such a big family. Robert, who we called Bobby, was the second child born. He was born, well, Thelma was born in October. A year round following, Bobby was born in December. And when Bobby died, he was 3 years old. I remember the story about when Mother was in the hospital with Jean and Thelma and Bobby, and they were also sick, and Mom had to be there in the hospital with them, and it was a very hard time for her. She talked about Jean getting in trouble because she knocked some of the things off, and the nurse was so cruel to her. Then the others all went home, and Mom was still there with Bobby, and they actually were still giving him shots. It was a very hard time, and he died, and she was not able to go to the funeral. The church was directly across the street from this home. It was about 14th South. And I have pictures of him, little darling, curly-headed boy. Very, very hard on Mother and Dad. My dad, they tell me, he would go up to the cemetery after work and sit by his little graveside and cry. Then they had Jean. So Bobby was born in December. The year round in February, Jean was born. And another girl. Then Laura was the next one born, and she was born in May. But they were all about 14, 15 months apart. And then Ruth. And Ruth was born in July 23rd of 1928. Now, it's easy to see that by the time I was born, they really, really wanted a boy. And so they were planning for a boy, and I was to be named Donald Raymond. I didn't particularly like my name, but I thought it was better to be Donna Rae than Donald Raymond. So when they finally got their boy, that was really exciting, that when they got Jim. And so Dad was pretty proud of Jim, and they've had a good relationship all through the years. And it must have been pretty tough for him growing up with all those girls. We were the last two of the family, a family of 7.